opportunities, new partners, EG Tax.
It's Ask the Tax Lady with Esther Gulius and EG Tax on News Radio 930 WBEN. To reach Esther now, call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulius.
Hey, everybody, this is the Tax Lady, and we're here in studio to talk taxes and money and letters and getting you ready for next year, because this is the time when you can that you can get ready for next year, because it's really important, and those decisions you make really affect things in January. I'm joined in studio with Tiffany Fabian. Hey, Tiff.
Hey there, Esther. How's it going?
I'm good. And Chris Fabian.
Hello, Esther.
Hello, Chris.
I know the other day we were talking to somebody from Entercom, and he said, you know, asked me 10, 15 years ago if I would have said I would have put a tax program on the radio over the summer, I would have laughed at them, because that's so bizarre. And he goes, now I can't stop listening to you guys on Saturdays. He goes,
because we try to, it's what happens this time of year that makes your tax return. It's like inviting people over for dinner, and they think that you just all magically come up with the stuff. It's what you did before they came over.
Or
you had to
maybe
go
they think
grocery
you can
shopping, you had to decide a menu. What?
I said maybe they think you can cook too.
Well,
like if they came to my house, I
cannot
couldn't
cook. I can
well,
cook.
you can,
I
you just don't
want
like
to.
But anyways,
like to cook.
you're right. If you don't have everything ready,
It's all the stuff. It's
And
all
it
the
would be a
preparation.
terrible party.
And it's
It's
planning.
all the preparation. It's so important.
Yep.
So we want to talk, again, 8030930, 8030930 is our phone number here in studio. Star 930 on the cell, and the toll-free number is something.
something.
1-800-616-WBEN.
Right. So like if you're in Canada and you're a U.S. citizen and you haven't filed your F-bar, you should talk to us about
You got
that.
1 week
or
left.
If you're a U.S. citizen living in the United States and you got money in Canada, you got to file your F-bar, because the penalty can be up to $10,000. That's a lot of money. So we want to talk about that too. All right. So relative to what's happening in the wonderful world of taxes, what kind of letters are we getting?
Oh, well, New York State right now is sending people letters who mailed in amended returns saying you now owe us money. And, you know, they're having a fit. And you look at the letters and it says, yeah, you didn't send in the forms for the credits. You know, the earned income credit, the child tax credit, the child care credit. All those forms, they weren't attached. So now you owe us the money back. But all you have to do is send them the forms again.
Right.
And they'll take care of it.
So
I mean,
what are
but
they
it's
doing? Disconnecting the forms?
Yep. When you're mailing them in, they're just taking the first 5 pages, processing them, and
It's
the
interesting.
rest.
One of my
Right.
clients said the other day, well, do you think they was actually a taxpayer that called, and she hasn't gotten her refund from an amended return, and the state actually processed it, the federal didn't. And she said, do you think that they could have thrown it away? Yes. And that's why when you send things in by paper, you better send it in certified mail, return receipt requested, because that's the only way you can prove that they got it.
Right. I had, like you said, Chris, somebody from New York State, and they did an amendment, but the EIC dropped off, so we just
Yep.
had to mail them the IT 215, and then New York State was happy.
It can be very frustrating. You get these letters and it can just completely ruin your day.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And so if you do get one of those love letters, you can just call EG Tax, whether we did the return or not, 632-7886, or you can email us at egtax.com. We got a Ask the Tax Lady link, and we'll be very, very happy to help you, because most of the letters, if not
completely wrong. They're at least
partially wrong.
Partially wrong.
In other words, if they're asking for $10,000, you might end up owing $1.50, but you shouldn't pay them the $10,000 just because they're asking for it.
Yeah.
So anything else about that?
I had somebody who got a letter about the new home buyer's credit repayment, that the form wasn't done correctly. So if you got that new home buyer's credit a long time ago and you have to pay the $10,000 back, they didn't allocate it for the husband and for the wife, and so we had to just simply do a reallocation, and they didn't know the $250 at all. So you just want to make sure that you pay attention to the letter.
What happens is a computer is doing all the math, and nobody's really looking at these things. It's just mathematically generated. And for instance, this time of year, they're running a like a spreadsheet against what you reported and what they get, and if it doesn't match up, they just send you a bill.
Correct.
And it can be very devastating. The other thing is sales taxes, right, Chris?
Sales tax, that's due Monday. Matter of fact, speaking of that, sales tax, New York State, if you don't think, I don't have to pay sales tax, no, I don't have to charge sales tax, give us a call. Ask us. If we don't know, we'll put a conference call into New York State, and we'll get the answer.
Well, like who would have to pay sales tax?
A hair salon, sorry.
I mean, if you're self-employed.
Right, a hair salon.
If you
and
sell
selling
products.
right.
A painter, an electrician on just repairs, not capital improvements. Construction, same thing, company who does just basic repairs. Landscapers around here, people who cut lawns, all those are subject to sales tax.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't ask and the state of New York comes to you one day, that's not a happy situation. And that's what EG Tax does. You can call us at 632-7886, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Email us. We will help you so that you don't get those kind of situations, right?
That's right.
All right. Now, I wanted to talk today about identity theft. The IRS is really in a conundrum because identity theft is really becoming a problem. And if you're somebody that doesn't do things electronically and you think you're safe, wrong.
Oh, yeah, because people are pilfering people's Social Security numbers. So just because you do it via paper doesn't mean that somebody hasn't gone on a database and gotten your Social Security number.
Yeah, you don't have to be electronic to have your information stolen. And as a matter of fact, if you're somebody that's non-electronic, your information or identity could have been stolen and you'd never know. For instance, one of the ways you know that your identity is stolen is if somebody has already done a tax return and then you go to send it in electronically and it rejects because it says it's already been filed. At least that way you'd know. But if you're somebody sending in a paper return, I don't know that you'd ever know because you wouldn't know if it rejected.
Yeah, probably 5, 6, 7 months later by the time they get along processing it. And
Or I got somebody the other day and they said M&T Bank was calling them and saying that you tried to open up a credit card and we're just verifying. So sometimes you're going to get calls from banks or from credit cards saying, did you really open up this credit card?
Or you're getting bills from credit card companies and you never opened up the thing. And part of what we do at EG Tax is we will help you if you're somebody that suspects that you are involved in identity theft. Or maybe you think, oh, this couldn't happen to me, but I'm going to tell you it can. So you don't have to be online on a computer. You want to guard your Social Security number tight to your vest. You don't want to, and I know a lot of the doctors, that's how your doctor gets information is by your social, everything's
right. Even I think your Medicare number is your Social Security number. Yeah.
So
very scary.
It is very scary, but the IRS is engaged with the state governments to help safeguard your identity, and that means it's going to become more restrictive when you file your tax return. And don't get angry. I mean, you should be happy that they're guarding your identity.
The IRS is doing a big push, a big initiative right now to try to figure out a solution to this problem. And so they're really putting their heads together with different agencies of government and trying to figure out how they can reduce this. I know Chris had a relative who had his identity stolen, and Chris did his return, and he got the notice, and so it's end of June coming on, and he still doesn't have his refund. And
I worked with a client, took 2.5 years to get his identity straightened out. But here's the thing: if you don't know it, ignorance is bliss. If you don't know that somebody's taken over your identity and they're racking up credit cards in your name, that's the really problem. You should really file, look for your credit, do a credit app to make sure, I'm not your credit app, do your credit report.
Well, my daughter, my 20-year-old, she said to me, Mom, she texted me, is credit of 720 good? Because she has her first credit card, and every time she gets a statement, it has her credit report on the statement. So
that's
really,
great.
Really a nice tool.
That's great. And I'm going to tell you, if your credit card company is calling you up saying, we're worried about a charge, don't get mad at the credit card company because they're really doing you a service.
That's
all right. So if you have any questions about your identity, love letters, amended returns, bills, children, gifting, houses, whatever, give us a call, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with your questions on the other side.
That's an easy one.
That's Taylor. Taylor.
Shake it off, shake it off. Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Yay for Esther.
Very
Thank
good.
you, Chris. That helped.
Hey, I said Taylor.
All right, I'm sorry.
Gracie yelled it.
Oh, I didn't hear her.
My goal is just to get Esther to sing as much as possible.
I love
Sings
that
very
song.
well.
Yesterday we went to a concert in Rochester, and I saw
A jazz person.
jazz. She was a jazz person, and it was at the music hall there,
The
and it was
amphitheater.
very interesting because she was very breathy, and you couldn't understand anything she said. The music was great. I couldn't understand a word she was saying.
She
Anyway,
could scat good, you said, right?
yeah, and everybody, all of her support people were good.
What does that mean, scat?
With her
Oh,
mouth, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
she's
She-
very breathy. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on cell phone, and we're going to go to Bob in Amherst. Robert, how are you, sir?
Very, very good on this fine day. I got a quick question on mandatory distributions and delaying Social Security. I'm reading something that's troubling me here because I think I might have given someone the wrong advice. It says if your IRA is large, it's often smarter to live on it for a few years after you retire while putting off filing for Social Security. Will shrink the IRA and hence the size of your required withdrawal at 70 and a half. And meanwhile, your Social Security account will grow by a guaranteed 8% every year after 66 to 70. Is that always the case, or are there a lot of depending
Well,
on this?
here's the whole thing. Here's the thing about Social Security, and the jury's out on both aspects. Your IRA money, what's going to happen down the line here as we all age? We're going to die, right? So if you took the Social Security as opposed to the IRA, and your IRA then, upon your death, would go to your heirs. Not true with Social Security. Once you die, your Social Security is done. Okay?
Right.
So the way I have always looked at it, if you're still working, obviously, and you're under the age of 65, you have to come under that income limitation before you can start collecting your Social Security without paying it back. But if you knew how long you were going to live, it would work to not take your Social Security. But the truth is, it's going to break out even if you wait until you're 66 to take it. It's going to take 15 years to break out even at the end versus what they're going to pay you after they do the step up. Now, if you know you're going to live to be 80, great, but there is no guarantee how long we're going to live. So some people say, oh, wait, because people believe they're going to live forever. For me, I just think that we all leave this earth in a box, and that's the way it is. And I'd like to say I'm going to live forever, but I'm not. And so, and since Social Security stops at your death, and your IRA would be an asset to give to your heirs, that's another way of looking at it. And plus, even though you're going to get the step up, it's with the money you're losing. Like, for instance, if you're letting go $15,000 a year for 5 years, that's $65,000 you left on the table. In order to get that step up, the extra money, you have to live 15 years longer to get the extra money. So if you got a crystal ball, Bob, you know.
That 8% every year is only good from 66 to age 70. So
Right, but the bottom line is, how long are you going to live?
Exactly.
And your quality of life.
Right.
And then also you got to look at the money you're taking from your IRA. Is your
Is
Social
tax-
Security recouping that money you lost that could potential growth from
And the
your
IRA is taxable,
And the
too.
IRA is taxable.
So,
Yeah. I feel a lot better about my decision. Thanks a lot.
all right, Bob. Thank you, sir.
Good
You know,
job.
Bye-bye.
I just did this for yesterday for somebody came in and sat down, went right on Social Security's website, and we said, if he continues working at this rate, what will it be at 66? If he stops at 62, what will it be? And every time you do a new table, it shows you the existing. So I was able to do the calculation, and he goes, "How'd you know how to do that? Why doesn't everybody sit down
the
and
whole
do
thing
this?"
is that none of us want to think that there is a definite end to our life. But the bottom line is, your Social Security stops at your death. Your IRA is an asset. So that's number one. Number two, if you're giving up $70,000 worth of benefits until you're 66, or maybe 80 or 90,000 if you're going to wait till you're 70,
How long?
you have to live all that extra time after that age to make up what you haven't gotten. And they don't call your family and say, "Gee, it was great that Esther didn't take that Social Security. We're going to send you a check." They don't do that. It's done. So, it all depends on how conservative you are.
Right. And it sounds like
And I'm
Bob,
really conservative.
It sounded like Bob gave them the advice that you had given them, and then he was questioning his.
Right, because you read these articles, it is true. You're
Right.
going to get more.
Right.
You're going to get more, but you've just given up a ton.
Right.
You've given up a ton. You're going to get more, but how many years are you going to live?
Yep.
Is the question.
And I learned something from you every time I'm on this show, Esther, and I never thought about that. Your Social Security doesn't pass on to your heirs.
It doesn't,
Yeah.
but your IRAs do.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and so your kids will get something.
Right.
Right? If you want to give your kids something. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and we're going to go to Brian and NT. Hey, Brian.
Hi, Esther.
Hi.
Question. My son's going to be a senior at UB. He just started an internship this summer, and I would imagine he's not going to make more than $3,000, for this year.
Uh-huh.
Should there be federal income and New York State income tax withheld?
All right, so the most he's going to make is $3,000 this
Is
year.
he working
I would
another
say
job?
That would be tops, yeah.
And that'll be collectively all jobs all year.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Chris, right? These
Yeah,
not
yeah. If it's just 3,000, he doesn't have to have any federal withholding or state withholding,
Okay.
because
He got his first paycheck and there was nothing withheld.
yeah.
That's
But, I mean,
both-
I would do the math, make sure it's going to be under 3,000, because that's the limit for New York State before he's going to have to start
but
paying.
even if you made $3,100,
Right,
it's gonna
it'd be
cost,
minimal.
He's going to owe
$6.
$5.
And they're
Yeah.
paying him on a W-2. It's not self-employment, I'm sure, right?
Right.
Right,
So even
okay.
if he went up to 4,000, it would just be 1,000. We'd be responsible.
Right.
Well, yeah,
On New York
1,000
State.
times 5%, so it'd be about $50.
And nothing on the federal.
Right,
I
and
just
nothing
wanted
on
to
the-
make sure, because when I see
Now,
zero,
how old is he, Brian?
21.
Okay, so yeah, you're good.
Okay, thank
That's
you very
great.
much.
All right, thank you, sir. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on the cell phone. Okay. Happy Father's Day. We wanted to say that to the dads. And we thought maybe because tomorrow's Father's Day, we'd address some issues that are pertinent to dads.
Right.
Right? And the first thing that where unfortunately this tax law kind of
Slants.
shafts, slants, hits, bangs. I mean, the tax law is kind of against dads,
Right.
especially dads that are divorced.
Yeah,
Right?
I could tell you some sad stories. Yep.
So we thought we'd talk about some issues relative to dads. Like, number one, if you're a dad paying child support and the children live with mom and the parental home, the home for the kids is with mom, then who gets to claim the kids?
Mom would get to claim the kids. Of course, if the divorce decree says they 1 year one, the other year's the other, they would split. But the person who has custodial rights would have the
Comes
kids
first.
come first.
She's the steering committee, right?
That's right.
So what under the law, that even if the divorce decree stipulates that they would go one to the other, unless it's ordered by the court and the 8332 is signed by the custodial parent, the non-custodial parent, who's usually dad, is not going to get any benefit for it. So it's really important, if you're a dad we're going to have your kids tomorrow and you're in the middle of a divorce or you maybe don't have it finalized yet, make sure you get this 8332 signed in court before the divorce is over so you don't have to deal with it during tax
Right,
time.
because you can have it signed for multiple years. So Esther gives great advice. Make sure you get it signed as soon as you can.
And the other thing is, so many times what you're seeing now is joint custody.
Right.
And it really is very difficult. The dad will have him Sunday at noon until Tuesday night. And really it is almost exactly 50-50.
Right.
If there's multiple children, what I suggest that the two of the parents do is make one custodial parent of one set of kids and the other custodial parent of at least one or more children. What's the benefit of that?
Then they both are head of household.
Then they have, and then they have a little bit of leverage, and the steering committee all isn't in one camp. It's
That's right.
split apart.
And so the whole thing is if she can be head of the household and he could be head of the household, then it's the best thing for both of you. And again, these are things you need to talk to your attorney before it's all settled.
And I can't tell you, Esther, how many times, and Chris, I'm with somebody, they'll say, I'm the custodial parent. I'm the custodial parent. Well, the truth is you can't both be the custodial parent. And so one or the other is.
Right. Yeah. But the bottom line is those are things you need to work out if you're in the middle of a divorce because let's face it, once the divorce is over and everybody's had their day in court, it's very difficult and extremely expensive to bring it all up again and rehash the situation. So this being Dad's Day tomorrow, Dad, you got to make sure that you get these things straightened out because it means a lot of money on your tax return.
Yeah, and then also I wanted to say that there's a credit on New York State for non-custodial dads who pay child support.
Which we will talk about in a minute because we're just going to break for news. I'm Esther Gulias, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. If you're a dad wondering about these things, if you've already gotten your divorce through, give us a call. We'll be very happy to help you. See you on the other side.
That's not Taylor Swift.
See what happens is you get one, and then the next time he puts a really hard one on. Okay, what is it?
That's one of your show favorites. That's Catfish and the Bottlemen. One of your favorites.
Catfish and the Bottlemen. Yes,
Okay.
that's it. I'm Esther Gulias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. We're talking about dads and Father's Day. And before we get to the phones, again, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. What were you? A tip for dads who are paying child support through the New York State collection.
And you're current and you're not past due, there's a credit on New York State, a refundable credit. It's an IT-209 non-custodial earned income credit. So that means if you're one of those dads and you can't claim the kids, but you pay child support for them, if you're a lower income person, you might qualify, and not that low income, I might add, you might qualify for the New York State IT-209, the non-custodial.
Which is a refundable credit.
Right. Anything else to add about that credit, Chris?
No.
And if you forgot it for the last few years, don't forget to amend your return.
You can get it back.
Right.
It'll take a while, but you will get it back.
Right.
All right, let's go to the phones. Hey, Jane, how can we help you?
Oh, Esther, I'm not one of those fathers. I'm a grandmother. Is it all right for the question?
Of course.
All right. 75, own a double home.
Okay.
I want to transfer the house to my daughter.
Okay.
I'm going to be one of those people living to be 80.
Okay.
I have 5 years. Can I transfer the house and still claim the taxes and the rental income?
So you're not going to take your name off. You're going to do a life estate?
I'm not sure.
Okay, if you do a life estate, then that will still go through your estate, and so she'll get a stepped up basis upon your death. If you gift her the property outright, then what happens is you're really going to make her pay the difference between your basis and what she sells it
and
for.
You couldn't
upon
deduct
your
the
death.
property taxes.
And then that's right. And then you couldn't deduct the property taxes and the mortgage interest because it's now her house. So what you want to do is think about this, and if you want to call us at the office, we're very happy to help you.
Chris, did you want to add something?
No.
Okay.
Nope,
I'm good.
Okay, so, and especially since it's a rental, your personal portion is going to be is your personal portion that would be tax-free, all right? But the rental portion is going to be fully taxable because I'm assuming you've had the house for over
a long time.
Yeah, so it's probably been depreciated out. So if you actually gift the house to your daughter, put her name on the title, then what'll happen is she'll end up paying the taxes on the whole enchilada because she's not living there, right?
Okay, I can have this done at your office?
Well, we'll help you, and then, of course, you're going to talk to your attorney who's going to do it for you.
Right.
Okay?
Or we could recommend an attorney for you.
Pardon?
We could recommend Jeff Katz.
Oh, good.
Or Dennis Kitchen will do it for either Jeff Katz or Dennis Kitchen would be absolutely great, and they can help you do the life estate. That's what I'd suggest you do if you want to do a life estate. So you really have to got to take a look at all your assets and everything too, because there is a 5-year look back. So
that's right.
All right.
Well, it's only one kid involved, so that's okay too.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
you very much.
Thanks for calling. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Okay, let's go back to talking about dads. Something that dads do, right, are many times they're coaches.
Right.
And so what is the benefit for a dad that's a coach, Chris?
Well, as long as it's for a non-for-profit and he's not getting paid to coach, then his mileage, his hotel if they travel, the meals, his supplies for the team would all go as charity, and that adds up really fast for some, especially if they're hockey dads.
Boy, and that's for sure. So that's a tip for dads. So if you're a coach for a not-for-profit, and I mean we're talking really being a coach, not just you might be a great dad and you're there all the time.
You got to be in the team picture.
Right.
And you don't want to be the one who just takes the team picture. You got to be in the team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So you get the mileage, you get all your expenses. Maybe you had your equipment. Maybe you got to get your skates sharpened, and you got to learn anything ordinary necessary to help for the non-for-profit. Right.
That's right.
All right. And then the other thing is. Another thing, dads, this is Father's Day. Maybe this is a good time beginning of a new year, holiday. Maybe you should really evaluate your life. Maybe you want to go back to school, change careers. All those things are really important. Maybe you're at this place in your life where you think, gee, if I went back to school, I could change careers.
Right.
It's a great time. These milestones.
Right. And then I also wanted to add, before we get too far with volunteering, it made me think if they're a volunteer fireman, because a lot of dads are volunteer firemen. There's a refundable credit on New York State if you're a volunteer fireman, and you have to be an active volunteer fireman. There's one of my clients, he says, I'm one of those retiree ones, but you have to be an active fireman, and there's a $250 credit, $200 credit on New York State, refundable,
and then
the mileage.
Also, if you're getting the benefit of like a retirement, I forgot what the firemen call it, New York State, that money is tax-free now on New York State. You still pay tax to the federal, but not on New York State.
Right.
Yeah, so if you've paid that tax on it in the past, make sure you amend your return for the statute of limitations is the last 3 years, because I know one of my clients, he was brand new to us, and he had been declaring that money on his New York State return.
Right.
Yeah. But going back to college, going back to that topic, I think that's something very feasible, and
Right. And the other thing is, if you're if here it is, Dad's Day tomorrow, maybe you feel like you're in a dead end job. Put your resume out. Get all that stuff, and maybe you've just gone through a divorce, and you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm paying all this money out for child support and maybe separate maintenance. And by the way, maintenance would be a deduction, right?
Right. That's right.
Maybe you need help with a budget. You can come down to EG Tax. There's no charge. We'll be very happy to help with you. Pull your credit report. Make sure that there's no identity theft. Help you to get everything, because it's devastating.
Oh, yeah. And so if you're thinking about going back to school, like you said, I have a client, and so we did a budget before he went back to school because he wanted to see if he could cut back on his hours and spend more time in school. So sometimes you need to take the time and look at your options and look where you stand, you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and we got Mike in East Amherst. Hey, Mike, how can we help you, sir?
Yes.
Happy Father's Day.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I work, and I take the maximum deduction for my 401k.
Good for you.
And I also take the over 50. My wife's about 5 years younger than me, and she works part-time, makes $5,000 or $6,000 a year. And I was wondering two things. If I could what can I put in an IRA for her, and can she also put in the above 50 contribution?
All right, so does she have a qualified pension plan at work?
No.
All right, so it really has to do, so you have a qualified pension plan at work. It has to do with your income level, the two of you together. Do you have any idea where you guys are collectively?
Collectively,
A year, how much you guys make?
about 150.
Okay, so that would be a problem, right, Chris? What
But
would be what?
she's
No,
not,
I believe-
she's not covered by a
He's
plan.
under a qualified plan. So where's
She-
the phase out on
That's
the IRA?
what I'm. Yeah, but
He's
this
got the
just
book, I
says
don't have the
I'm
book.
trying to find in the book, but this just
I'm
says
not in a qualified plan. I'm just,
You're in the 401k, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
401k
All right.
is
So a,
yep.
a 401k is a qualified plan. What we're getting at is if neither of you are in a 401k or a qualified plan, then there would be no problem. She could
Right.
put her $6,000 in the IRA, up to her wages up to $6,000. If the one of you is in a qualified plan, then there's an income phase out.
It starts off at 181,000.
Okay, so she's good to go. So she can put her wages up to $6,000 in an IRA.
And the truth is, the more wages you put, the lower that 180 becomes. You're
Right.
further away from it. So
Right.
the more you put into a 401k, the better you are to not super exceed that threshold.
Right. In other words, it's a good thing, Mike. That's what she's saying. But the great thing is her wages. Then, if you put it in a IRA, is like she didn't make the money. It's going to be completely
Right.
tax free. So it's great planning.
And can I also put in there the
Catch
over
up.
50?
Is she over?
Well, is she
5
over
years younger.
50? Well,
Yeah.
that would be 6,000 is
6,500.
6,500. So that'll be the maximum. But it's her wages up to 6,500. And you were saying that she makes like $5,000.
But
right?
he can use her wages.
She can draw off of him.
Oh, and she can draw off
She
him.
can off
right.
of him,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, 6,500.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Mike. Have a great Father's Day.
So I think his answers were yes and yes.
Yes and yes.
Yes and
that's,
yes.
And that's what's so great about tax planning, because then you can do that. Because to do it at the end of the year, you just don't have that much time.
Yeah.
And so right now, like for instance, if he weren't at the maximum on his 401k, he still have the extra time to do that.
That's
Yep.
right.
I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Love to hear from you, whether you've gotten letters, haven't received your refunds, and I'm going to tell you, I know there's a lot of people with that frustration. Or maybe you're so lucky you called the IRS, waited on hold for an hour and a half, and they hang up on you. Things of that nature, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to take a short break. See you on the other side.
Heading down south to the land of the pines. I'm thumbing my way into North Carolina. Staring up the road.
I know this song.
Pray to God I see
Grace. Grace.
Rock this time.
Rock. Oh,
a wagon wheel.
Rock me, baby, like a wagon wheel, right? Who's
Wait,
singing
it
that?
either is
Gracie
Darius Rucker.
knows.
It is Darius Rucker because you tricked us like 2 months ago.
I
on this
did.
one.
Rock me, baby. I love country music. I like the little stories they tell.
Yes.
You know.
Well, I got a question for
Yes,
you. We
sir.
did this for Mother's Day.
Yes.
What's the best piece of advice your father gave you?
Oh, I like it.
Oh, me? My
A
dad,
lot.
I had a great dad. He passed away about 9 years
He
ago.
was a tough Italian.
He was tough. My dad, was a really tough Italian, and I have to tell you what he used to do when he made me pay my way through college. So I'm working to pay my way through college, and plus he made me give him $20 a week.
Right.
And I hated him. I hated him every week when I had to pay him $20 because I only made like 55, right? And on the day I got married, he took me in his bedroom, and he had stacked up all those $20 bills, and he handed it to me.
That's pretty cool.
That was the kind of guy he was.
Right.
But then I didn't hate him so much. But I was really mad.
He might not have told the missus about that.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe
right.
he didn't.
Maybe he did. Who knows?
But he was a great guy. So anyway, for all the fathers out there, we just say Happy Father's Day. Okay, we got Tom in West Seneca has been holding. Hey, Tom, how can we help you?
Oh, yes. I filed my income tax with the state. I filed single, not head of household. I was told that I had to file head of household to get the child tax credit.
Not true. Not at all. Are the children under the age of 17?
Yes.
All right, that's number one. Number two, do they live with you or no?
Yes.
The children live with you?
Oh, no, the child does live with me. It's 4 days a week, and the ex-wife gets them 3 days a week.
Are you the custodial?
Are you the custodial parent?
For the 4 days a week, I'm the custodial.
No. There's 7 days. Who does the child reside with? The
child resides with me.
All right.
With both of us, actually.
I know, but who does the child reside with? Primarily.
Well, I'd say me because I have 4 days a week. But for the tax purposes, the court says that I take them in odd years and she takes them in even years.
All right, but the child. What address is on the educational documentation at the school?
And the medical records.
Your address?
Yes.
Then you should amend your tax return and do head of household. You should do head of household whether or not she claims them because you are the custodial parent. And that's going to save you a lot of money and get you a big refund.
Yep. And have a schedule done up so you can prove that your child is with you for the 4 days a week.
I did get my refund, but it was $550 less, and that's when I called. They told me because I didn't file head of household.
Tom, can I ask how much you make a year?
Last year I only made about $7,800.
Okay,
because then you got an earned income credit coming too.
Even if you didn't claim the kids that weren't yours, you know how you do odd years and even years, you get to claim them for earned income credit when you do head of household and you're the custodial parent.
How many years have you been divorced, Tom?
Three years.
Okay, so and this has been the situation for the last 3 years?
Yes, this is the first year I've actually took the even year.
Okay, well, we should look at the last 3 years' returns for you because it sounds like you might have $15,000 or $20,000 coming back.
Okay.
So wouldn't that be a happy Father's Day gift?
Yeah, I did claim the earned income credit. I did get that.
For both the kids, or for just the kid that you could claim?
I only have one child.
Okay, so you got you did the earned income credit, but you didn't claim head of household.
I claimed, but they turned it down because they said I didn't file a head of household.
No, why didn't you file head of household?
I didn't know that I needed to.
Okay,
I didn't think it mattered.
Give us a call Monday. We'll get you straightened out. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom.
All right,
Happy Father's Day.
And that's the thing. There's so many pieces to tax law that, if a child, if you're maintaining a home over 50% of the time for a child that lives with you, and you're single or considered single for tax purposes, you're head of the household.
Correct.
Which saves you, which reduces your tax liability, opens up a lot of credits to you. You know. So, and maybe he was missing the child tax credit, too. I didn't even know if he got that. Let's go back to the phones. We'll talk to Ed in Williamsville. Hi, Ed. How can we help you?
You mentioned the IT 209.
Yeah.
You mentioned there are income limits on it, but you didn't mention the number.
Well,
it's
the
about
earned income
$38,000 if I'm remembering correctly.
It would be somebody that would have qualified for the earned income credit had the child lived with them on the federal. So do you have one or two children that you're supporting under the New York State Collection Agency?
Not under New York State Collection Agency.
It's got to be through the New York State.
Does it come right out of your paycheck?
No, I pay it directly.
No.
Then unfortunately you won't qualify because it's got to be collected through New York State.
Okay, very good.
Thanks, Ed. Now, is that something
that
do
they
any
could
of you guys
change?
know? Can you change that?
I've wondered that myself. I've
I
approached.
think you can voluntarily go into it.
Yeah, because that would be in his best interest. And what you might want to do, Ed, is give us a call. Let's see how much you would save.
Right.
And then what you might want to do is then call New York State child support, and they will start taking it out of your wages.
Yep. The income limit is $38,511.
Oh, you did really good.
So, if you end up with an extra $400 or $500 just by having it go through New York State collection, it may be worth
especially
worth
what age the child is,
trouble.
how much longer you have to pay child support, how many kids. I think you said there was one, right?
Yeah.
And
well,
so,
no, I think Ed was different than the other guy. All right. Which would be true. Ed would be different than the other guy. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, and we got Deb in Amherst. Hey, Deb.
Hi, Esther.
How you doing?
I have a question. I'm single. I make a little over $65,000 a year. I'm going to be buying a 2-family home. I'm not going to live in it. My son's going to live in one part, and then he's going to rent out the upper part of the home.
Okay.
The home will be in my name, so I'm assuming next year I'll have to claim whatever income I received from that upper apartment that he'll rent out, or and I've never I had a 2-family home or income property before.
Okay.
I don't want to screw myself up because it is just myself, and I do make over $65,000. Would I be better to break even on that rental property as far as
all right. Well, first of all, the most important thing is if you want to make sure you're doing fair rental value. Because in order for the rental to be considered business, you have to be trying to make money, okay? It has to you have to have a profit motive. Now, you could actually charge your son a reduced rate of rent and then have him manage the property for you, where you would then include the amount that you would have given, he would have given you in rent in lieu that you're not going to get because he's managing the property, which would mean you'd include it, but you get to take it as an expense. And so that in that way, the entire house is rental, and you'll be able to take depreciation, property taxes, mortgage interest, travel, insurance, repairs, water bills, and as a deduction against the rental income.
And so her question was, should she try to break even?
No, you want to make obviously as much as you possibly can. It's got to be fair rental value. In other words, it's not like you say, "Oh, let's see, I think I just want to break even. So even though everybody else is getting $800 rent, I'm going to charge $6." You have to charge $8. Whatever everybody else is charging for that same unit, you have to do the same.
And then I thought, Deb, you were wondering if you should break even where you're at a zero and you're not at a loss every year, where you mean the amount of rent versus your expenses don't super exceed your income. Is that what you meant?
Right. That, and also I am not doing it for income. It's like
no, but you see, all right, but that's where if you're doing it just because you want to give a home to your son and you're just kind of it's not business. And so that's the wrong thing. And then what they'll do is not allow you to take all your expenses for operating it. You have to do it at fair rental value. And if you want to take the expenses, and if you don't want to, if that's not your motivation, you really shouldn't get into rental property.
Okay. And
you might want to just buy a single family home and let your son live there.
And make sure if you do it as fair market rental that you do take all the expenses and you don't try to break even. You do it honest.
You really just do it like it pragmatically. This is my rents. These are my expenses. This is my depreciation. And you're going to find out you're going to lose money every year anyway because of depreciation, because that's the systematic write-off of the thing. What I'd suggest you do is you can come into the office, Deb. You live in Amherst. We're in Amherst, right on the boulevard. Stop in. We have this rental book we'll give you, and then we're going to kind of sit down and talk to you to make sure that you're not shooting yourself in the foot, because you don't want that to be the problem in April. Right.
That's why I'm calling.
All right, girlfriend.
Okay.
So just stop in. We'll give you the rental book, and we'll give you a little pep talk. So make sure you're doing the right thing. Okay.
Oh, very good. I'll give you a call Monday.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Next week. Thanks so much.
I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax. Just like Deb or anybody else that we talk to, we're there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, even in the off season. Obviously, we're there forever and ever during tax season. But if you have a problem, if you got a question, if you're thinking about taking money out of a pension plan, if you're thinking about buying rental property, if you're thinking about starting a small business, moving away, whatever, we're there to help you. And I will tell you, we go way out of our way, even if you're not our client. And we talk to people all the time, and we don't charge them anything.
That's right.
Because we want to be your advocate. We want to be your helper.
I had to write a report for my daughter, and it says on there, why did you become an accountant? And I said the number one reason is because I love to help people.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's what we do.
Right. And it's really great because then we make some money on the side, too. But mostly you just love that you get to help people, you know. But if you're somebody during the week have any questions, our email address through our website is EGTax Ask the Tax Lady, egtax.com Ask the Tax Lady. We're there to help you all the time. Love letters, don't pay them, until you see us, because then we'll keep you out of trouble, right?
Yes.
Okay, and all you dads, I hope you have a wonderful Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Christopher.
I guess, happy Father's Day, Chris.
Happy Father's
Thank
Day,
you.
Dad.
Oh, and Gracie said happy Father's. That's his daughter. She's here.
One of them.
And I hope, and Becca, of course, I hope all of you have a great Father's Day, and I hope it doesn't rain. I understand it's supposed to rain. Darn it.
Well,
what are you going to do? Anyway, dads, have a great Father's Day. Until next week, I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady with Chris Fabian, Tiffany Fabian. We want to help you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.